Okay, works for me. Hello.
I got it all beat up when I keep that top off there, so if it gets started.
Okay, Stephen.
I'd be upset.
How do we turn it on? That's the question. Oh. Okay. How does that get there?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
I just, I was having problems with that one, so.
You do?
No. Put that on those two.
Oh. Put my deer
Just
stand
having
on.
problems.
You're right. I'm looking down and showing my all day.
Oh.
They'll jump out and walk straight up to you. Every morning.
The day before, the day like.
James said that you get calls when donate 20% of your budget to the city clerk.
Y'all cut deals down here?
Do what we can. He said that's right. You heard him, Tom. He said that's right.
That's the cheap kind of way of saying.
Still trying to shoot a deer for me. Can't catch it. You know, the one day I didn't go was Sunday. And guess what's been there Sunday? The deer was beautiful. Perfect. Big stud. Big stud.
No.
Broad daylight. Yeah.
We don't do Christmas.
Everything's nice.
They were doing
Nice.
Kids' house. We don't do Christmas. We're going to where my daughter lives for Thanksgiving. Just south of Boston.
That's what I see it, Dave. When I saw it, I'm like, that's This is going to county.
That's the birthday.
That's the
Good. Headaches. Hey, you're ready. And nobody said they gotta leave it this for nothing. They gonna be good.
You're not allowed to hunt at night.
I started to put my jacket on this guy. So, and it's gonna be a warm day. Are you good? Hi there.
Gentlemen wanted to get to you.
Okay.
All right.
But it's fixing to be that time of year.
What you doing?
Oh, I printed, is this my copy? Cause I printed one. Oh, I printed.
Yeah. Trying to figure out how to get this thing open on my screen.
This thing? Go to H drive. This PC.
Hey, Grayson.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Can you check your email? Oh, I was gonna email to you.
How y'all doing? Doing all right?
That's not really hooked up to your
Y'all doing okay?
Everything else is
computer.
So what's the difference in this book and this book?
Go to
Same thing?
That's the one Mr. Darkman made.
That's the original one.
Okay.
Maybe first.
Okay.
Probably have some mistakes.
Stakes in it, what about that? Same thing?
What is that? Oh, yeah, that's the capital. Yeah, all of this part of it.
Okay, so this is probably more accurate. Okay. I got you. Okay.
all right.
Did you find out anything for me?
We found out some things, but, Dennis was working on the
Okay.
sales tape one. He said it's probably take a month.
Okay.
But they are dead city. They got codes.
Yeah, go and look through the codes.
Well, no, he said liquor stores.
Probably doesn't go back. There you go. Hit it hard. I promise not to keep you long enough where you'll need all that.
Y'all keep us that long?
I'm not saying.
So
It's gonna be out before
now,
five.
I doubt it, but you might.
Mike, you didn't go to the airport or the water?
Mhm.
cross country.
Well, that was a one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm, so it should have been out by now.
Yeah.
That email I had is.
No. We have 2 rating agency calls Friday afternoon. I'm trying to get stuff done for them.
Right.
Oh, y'all got all kinds of snacks right there.
Yes, Jackie fixed it up. We gotta live by this.
If,
I thought that was.
stay on that gal about those taxes.
This one is routine enough where unless y'all have a bunch of
Talk to
questions.
Basada about it. He seems to think that we can do it. So I just need a number.
The mayor's gonna talk to her first before we start. Remind y'all that keeping reserves is a good idea. He has some numbers to back it up. So maybe, you know, been trying to tell folks anybody wants to do stuff. It's not here right now. It's gotta be recurring. It's not. I did not, I have not heard, but I actually talked to the contractor yesterday because he did my driveway years ago. He had gone out to look at it to see if there was something else we needed to do. He called while I was in the car. I'll find out.
Okay, I had a few people ask me,
I kinda, are you talking about the big Pines Road or the little Pines Road?
either, both of them.
Okay, well, I talked to the little,
Okay,
I talked to Dale Spade yesterday.
because they did the bidding on the big ones also, right?
They're not the low bidder on that one. Benton Brown got the big one.
3 different emails.
You think they'll be starting before first of the year?
I would doubt seriously they'll start.
So you wanna look through their contract?
Police building is just holding our breath on that one. They put it off 2 weeks because it was gonna be the Thursday before Thanksgiving and we just kinda felt like, let's give them a little more time. It's coming along. But I'll try to find out from David when you're too hard. You can ask him tomorrow. He'll be here.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, they're all up there.
Kennedy. Oh, the other.
There's one. What are you doing?
I have my lock screen locked, so they can't.
You got your spiel?
And handouts.
Green's here. He's pretty upset.
Okay.
I got it. Just tell it.
Good, how are you?
How are you, sir?
She's still
Get you all casual.
I do know.
Good morning. How you doing?
It ain't no morning time,
Oh, that's right.
it's afternoon.
That's right, it's afternoon.
Yeah, that's what I'm more
All right.
interested in. But
Yep.
then I got my subject.
Not much, Gary. How you doing?
Water and sewage
What's up, Mr. Mayor? How are you? I'm good, thank you
for enterprise.
for coming today. Oh, it's great.
How-
Yes,
What
sir.
was it?
What's up, man?
Oh, it was super.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Huh?
Yeah, well,
It was empty.
yeah, that's what she said. She said it wasn't.
Me and John Paul.
Stephen is taking notes.
Hey,
Huh?
Said Stephen
had a
is
real,
taking notes.
Oh, good. That's good.
Time to break his
interesting
baby.
conversation. Yeah, that they're,
Yes, they are.
I think there's a workaround. Because here's the deal.
Right.
Yeah, they don't.
They're not letting you come into private interest? Okay. It'll work.
Yeah. There's Mike told me to. You weren't up here at the meeting?
No.
Yes, yes.
That'd be great.
But you won't
That'd be
lose any
great.
data, we'll copy it all.
Okay, great, that's great, yeah.
Full sales taxes for me right now.
It started at 3. So somebody may be in here, they think that they're here for that meeting, they need to know it's upstairs.
Y'all ready? The Shreveport City Council budget meeting is now called to order. The ZBA meeting will be held on the 4th floor conference room. So if you're in here for ZBA, wrong room. There's no other agenda that we have, Madam Clerk? Okay. So we'll start with our first presentation with city courts.
I think the mayor has a couple of comments before we get there.
I do have a couple of comments, if I may, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I have handed out some information to you. One of the things that becomes tempting when we've had several years of relatively flat revenues is to really be tempted to dip into the operating reserve. I wanted to present you some information about why we maintain an 8% operating reserve. That mostly has to do with our bond rating and the interest rate cost. What I've done is handed to you kind of what our reserve is and what the percentages are for 24, 25, and proposed 26. The second chart that you see is the, as of Monday, the interest rates that one would expect for bonds of that rating. The city's bond rating is BAA. However, because our operating reserve has been where it is, we have been able to obtain bond insurance by paying a premium, and what that results in is us being able to sell our bonds at a AA rate instead of the BAA rate. The difference, if we were to lose the bond insurance, we would go back to the BAA rate, and that third chart shows the difference between a 4.32% interest rate and a 5.67% interest rate, which amounts to $29 million over 30 years, or about $1 million a year. So should you choose to dip into that operating reserve to drop it below 8%, that is, in my view, the risk that we take to do that. And the second part is, if we were to have what we typically do is we'll have a 5% coupon rate. So if our interest rate is above 5%, what happens is the proceeds from the sale are discounted to get the interest rate up. So that's what that third chart shows. We would expect at a AA rate, if we were to sell $100 million, and we have close to that left to sell on our 2024 bonds. If we were to sell close to that, we would probably expect a premium of about $8 million, which means we would have more money available for projects. Should we have to sell bonds at a BAA rate, we would sell them at a discount of $88 million to $88 million, meaning we would sell $100 million of bonds, but we would only get $88 million back. That difference is about $20 million in projects that we would be able to do under the 2024 bond. So that you would understand the importance of, and I'm not going to read it, I just wanted to have it available to you so that you would understand the importance that the rating agencies place on this operating reserve and our general fund balance. I have attached the most recent Moody's credit opinion about our general obligation bonds and our utility revenue bonds. So this is, we don't try and get this number out of an arbitrary sense. There are real dollars that are associated with it, and so our budget provides for a little more than an 8% operating reserve proposed for 2026. We believe that is the prudent policy, and these are some figures to back up why we believe that's a prudent policy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does any council member have any response to the mayor's comment?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And this, Mayor, this is for any new bonds, correct? Not on anything that we've got on the books right now. This will be for new bonds.
Things that have already been sold have already been sold. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this would, how much do we have remaining in bonds that need to be sold?
Well, we have 200. We have an approval for 256.1 million, and we have sold 88 million. And Mr. Dark is better at math than I am, but that's what
A
we
little
got.
over 160 million left.
Okay. So that would impact any new bonds that we sell moving forward.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you do the roll call?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro. Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson. Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Thank you, Father, for the opportunity for us to meet. Amen. Public comments, Ken Craft.
Thank you. Ken Kraft, 157 Archer, Shreveport, 71105. Couple free steak dinners at Outback last night. They didn't even ask for my DD 214. I just want to recommend that we take the approach that we've been taking the last 3 years with the sales tax, the big dog revenue, the big 2.75. We're up about 2.8% over last year. I think the tariffs are actually helping because they're driving up the price of products we purchase in sales tax. And the only other suggestion I have, please let's get rid of those Jolie and those other apartments on Centenary Boulevard. My suggestion is a little different. It's 1% for 3 years instead of 2% for a year and a half. It would cost the poorest among us about a penny a day. The people who have a $30 water bill at a 1% would pay about a penny a month. So they could handle it. No, it's a penny a day. I'm sorry, 30 cents. Anyway, let's try to get rid of those buildings some kind of way. I don't know if it's in the budget now. I don't think it is. I read that it was not there. So let's work on that because they fester crime, and one of them is going to burn badly, and it's going to be a windy day, and it's going to hit a commercial or residential neighborhood from the burning apartments. I don't know how many arsonists are out there, but arson should be on our sonar. And I saw a basketball score, Mr. Mayor, 73-92, a college score, and it triggered my Asperger's. The check you donated to me on May 9th of 23 was check 7392. Probably just a flash. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Any more public comments? Okay. So, the purpose of this meeting is to go over our 2026 annual operating budget and to have you all to have the floor to share your budget with us. So the first person is up is City Courts.
While they're coming up, you're going to get tired of us hearing the expression, saying the expression continuation budget over the next day and a half.
What does
This is
continuation budget mean?
pretty much a budget that says we're going to keep the doors open, we're going to keep the folks here, we're going to do the services we're providing. generally it's standstill as is. And a lot of people you're going to see in the next day and a half have that, including these folks. The court's budget is, can I get it to pop up? It's about 6% ahead of last year, but what they did, the courts have some discretionary money, and they chose to put some of that in our general fund next year so that they could go a little bit higher and do some of the things they wanted to do. So, floor's open to them.
As you can see, our budget hasn't changed. I'm Bill Whiteside, I'm the clerk of court. This is Terrell Miles, our judicial administrator. What we've done to try and retain employees since our last budget meeting when I met with y'all is cut positions. So as people retire or leave, since I've been the clerk since 21, we have 4 positions now that we have not filled. And what we've done is use the existing money in our salaries to spread out amongst the folks to try and raise the starting salary for our folks, even though the city is not giving out raises. The last raise, I believe the city did a citywide raise in 2024 of 4%. There's not one this year for the employees, and there's not one slated for next year for the employees. I'm always an advocate for the employees. Our clerks, clerks of court who are doing fairly complex legal documents start out at about $35,000 a year, which doesn't even compete with Target. Last time I met with you guys, you asked me about other courts. So the closest court to us in approximate size is Baton Rouge. They publish the budgets for every court online every year. The legislative auditor does. They have an annual budget of $10 million, where ours is just over $4 million. So we are doing the same amount of work, the same amount of cases at 40% of the budget that they get. And we do that by being extremely efficient. We do have some discretionary money that we've saved up over the years, and that's what Tom was telling you about, that we put into the general fund to be able to keep our salaries where they are. And that's not giving our employees a raise next year either. It's just keeping them stable. In addition to that, I just want to let you guys know that we spend approximately $600,000 a year in discretionary funds to offset budget shortfalls. The city court pays $196,000 a year to cover the software that runs the court system and the marshal's service. We pay over $400,000 in miscellaneous expenses for travel, uniforms, memberships for the judges, office supplies, uniforms, documents, internet and cable, our audit. We pay for our own audit out of our discretionary funds. Last year, we were asked to reduce the budget a little bit, and we absorbed $26,000 in costs for Westlaw. That's coming out of that now. So just keep in mind that we are spending essentially everything we bring in discretionary funds because of budget shortfalls. So my ask to you is, I realize this is for all employees across the city, but we consider our employees our most valuable asset, the most important thing that we have. And anything that the city can do in order to raise the quality of life for our employees would be great. 2 years without a raise, while everything else has gone up, including our insurance, and we appreciate all the work the city's done to try and keep that cost as minimal as possible. But any way that you can find to help increase the cost of some of these employees would be grateful to us. Terrell?
Basically, what Bill Whiteside says is right on point.
Get up to the mic, Terrell.
I'm sorry. Basically, what the clerk has said is right on point. We try very, very hard down there, and we realize the restrictions that the city has. But day to day, as he said, everything is going up, and it's everywhere. But these girls work extremely hard, and we cannot afford to keep losing good workers to Targets and the Walmarts and places like that. And you guys are more than welcome anytime to come down and see just what we do down there.
So you're looking for pay increases for your clerks?
Yeah, for our deputy clerks.
For how many you have?
How many total we work?
We have approximately 48 employees. And to compare that with Baton Rouge, we do with 48 people what they do with 126 people.
You had something else to say?
That's it.
Any
Just ask
questions?
y'all to consider
ahead.
what we do.
Is the amount of cases up, or are they pretty? I know that y'all generate your discretionary funds from your court costs, correct?
Yes. They're up slightly in criminal this year, and they're pretty steady in civil. We had seen a 10-year steady decline in traffic tickets. We don't know if that's going to get worse with the camera systems now that those aren't coming through court. I don't know what the status of that is. But there has been a steady decline in traffic tickets over the years. We used to do about 60,000 tickets a year. Now we're doing about 20,000. So that's a 66% decrease from 10, 12 years ago. And I doubt people are driving much safer. It's just the enforcement is focused somewhere else, I believe, and not as much on traffic tickets. And I know traffic tickets shouldn't be really considered a source of revenue from the city, but the city gets 100% of that fine money. Mr. Edwards and I sit down and talked. There was a law that passed this year about DWIs. They created a new $10 fee on a DWI, but they called it a fine. And because they did that, that made DWIs not be able to be heard in city court anymore. So it put it over the $1,000 threshold that requires access to a jury trial. So all of the DWIs that are being written now are having to be heard in Caddo District Court. And we sit down and analyze the numbers, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue that's costing the city that we're hoping to get corrected. But with that, I checked our budget performance report before I came over here, and we are at 93% of the projected revenue already. And it's just November, so we still have a month and a half. So we should be over our revenue projections and under our spending limits, I believe, for the year.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me just throw this in there. I think the tickets went down when Mr. Talaferro retired.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
The next crew up is City Marshal's office. Their budget very much is a standstill budget. It's only about $9,000 more than the current budget. And we want to take the opportunity, y'all say it a lot, but we don't always say it on this side. We have an extremely good relationship with the Marshal's office right now. It is the best it's been in many years, and that is owed to the professionalism and the caring of Marshal Jefferson and his staff.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
I'm Sabrina Smith. Kind of following up with City Court, we're in a similar position where we have our discretionary funds along with the city budget. And our city budget, as you'll see, there isn't much change to it. There's a slight increase in the personal services. The other categories have remained the same except for with equipment that we've added for the purchase of new tasers coming next year, or at the end of this year.
And please be aware that this is one of the places there will be an amendment at some point before budget passes, because you all voted for the 2025 payment on those new pieces of taser equipment. There is a payment each year for the next 4 years after that. I think it's somewhere around $21,000. You will see that as part of an amendment come December 9th.
Have these, has City Court had a conversation with you all about the increases for or raises as it relates to their staff? Mr. Dart?
No, Madam Chair.
Well, who would they speak to regarding that?
I think they're using this forum to speak to all of us. This is not this is a request we've heard before from the courts at various times. Some of their lower paid clerks are relatively underpaid. We'll be fairly clear about that. But we have not tried to fund them in any way separately from any other city employee at this point, in order to give them a raise that no one else got.
Is anything else?
That's it for us. Thank y'all.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would say if both, these are somewhat, I don't want to say independent from the city because they're not, but they are one thing that we have that they really generate some of their own funds. I'd like to see like what Mr. Whiteside said, and I'm sure it's the same on your side, Marshall, that there's going to probably be some increase in fees because if their fees are going up, your service fees are, I mean, it's just,
It's gonna be natural.
yeah, I'd like to kind of see, you're at 90-something%. Is that what you said, Mr. Whiteside? Or is he already gone?
Yes.
Okay.
By
Okay.
93%.
If let's kind of see where we're at with that because I agree. I want to give every employee a raise, but if y'all are producing more and having to do more work and it's your discretionary funds that are coming in and y'all want to allocate that money for raises for deputies and for the clerks, then I believe that we need to oblige that if that's what y'all's
That's what you all wanna
recommendation
do.
is.
Right.
Right.
So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
Madam Chair.
Oh.
Marcia, I'd just like to commend you all for what all y'all doing. Y'all doing a great job, and so that you'll know I don't carry my badge anymore.
Thank you, Councilman.
He assigned it to me. Is that okay?
He ain't special no more.
Yeah.
He ain't special no more. Oh, Marshall. Not
Thank you.
special. You're not that certain person anymore.
That would be scary. The next two are together. It's the Convention Center and the Convention Center Hotel. We have representatives from both. Ms. Mitchell, if you'd come up with your crew first. I was teasing them before y'all all got here that both the Convention Center and the Convention Center Hotel are doing well. The difference, frankly, is that the Convention Center Hotel they both have a number of capital needs. The Convention Center Hotel is generating revenue that will help pay for those needs. The Convention Center does not, and the Convention Center, unfortunately, we think of it as sort of being new, and it's not real new anymore. It's getting almost, I think it's about old enough to vote now. And so Marla has identified some things that are not necessarily in this year's budget, but are things that are going to have to be considered over the next few years. So you're on.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As Mr. Dark has stated, we anticipate an increase in our event income to help, which is at $290,000. And despite of the economic impact right now, we are still booking all the way through 2030 major conferences and public events. We had some great major events in 2025 as Sports South, which brought over 3,000 people to the city. Shreveport Boat Show, which is returning in 2026 with a spinoff show for Bayou Supercenter, and also National Square Dance 2025 convention. However, there is an increase in expenses as well, as Mr. Dark has stated, staff costs and related expenses due to hiring initiative with competitive salary wages to fill and keep key positions. Utilities due to rate and usage. We are in the process of changing out our fluorescent lights to LEDs for the parking garage. I was able to get that taken care of through SWEPCO, which is their program for large commercial solutions. And typically the difference between that is we have to pay for everything up front, and then SWEPCO will reimburse us for that. So that project should be finished in November of this year of 2023. They're actually doing it right now. Increase in general building repairs. I have put together a 5-year capital report just to let you guys see where we are. As we move into 2026, we bark up on 20 years for the convention center. So we will have been open for 20 years as of January 2026. And as you know, as of 20 years, most of our equipment that are in the building has been there 20 years. So you can't repair it anymore because the parts are outdated, so they don't carry it anymore. So some things we literally have to replace. So that's where we are for the convention center. Municipal Auditorium is still going strong. We have had several sold-out shows. Leanne Morgan, 3 sold-out shows. Hudson Westbrook, Bonnie Ray, and 90s R&B. And we still have ZZ Top and Joe Bonamassa for this year. We just announced Chicago for May 5th of next year, and we have plenty more to come. So we thank you guys for your time. And I'm sorry I forgot to introduce my Director of Finance, which is Brian Evans.
Mr. Evans.
Hey, Brian.
Y'all have any questions for Marla?
So the lighting in the garage, SWEPCO reimburses us 100% of it?
They're going to let us know how much they can reimburse us. They have about $125,000 left in their cap for this year. So once we send them everything in, they're going to let us know. But I think she says she thinks that she can give us that full amount.
How much is it going to cost?
The quote right now is for $160K, so we may have to pay the difference of that. And the Hilton is working with us to split that cost.
I'm assuming it's going to use less electricity
Absolutely.
with the new lighting.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
then we'll eventually, next year, move into the convention center, and we'll probably have to break that up into different projects because the building is so big. And SWEPCO is willing to help us do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, before she leaves, I want to make sure that everybody knows what a terrific job the team at ASM, and that really means Marla, that she
totally
does,
agree.
both with the convention center and with Municipal Auditorium. She's, I don't think she sleeps. She's available 24/7, 365, and just does a super job. And this is an opportunity to say thank you and a job well done.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Job well done, for sure.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
also, Marla, I'd just like to say that you all are doing a great job, and of course,
Thank you.
I was on the council when you got hired.
You were.
No, for real.
You're the reason I got hired.
But
Absolutely.
certainly, you all keep up the good work, and
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much, and we appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the hotel fund is next. Now, the hotel fund operates at a deficit, but it actually has nothing to do with the operations of the hotel itself. What it means is that the hotel's debt service every year, which is in excess of $3 million, is not thrown, their revenue does not throw off enough excess revenue in order to pay that. So it ends up being paid out of the city's fund to the tune of a little over $1 million a year. What we want to tell you, and Valerie Cooper, the general manager, has a whole staff of folks there to help her, but they're doing really well. They started out, their estimated revenue for next year is a little over $16 million. That's more than 9% ahead of what they started out projecting this year. They're doing really well, and we commend the work they're doing. The thing that has come up, we are on the hook at times for various larger maintenance items that come up that are outside their scope. But what we've been able to do is save up a little money from some of the money they've thrown off in a couple of previous years, plus what they're going to throw off this year and next. And they have a very ambitious capital program, again, to kind of do what Marla was talking about, which is to keep up a building which is now getting close to 20 years old. I think it's the year to replace all the beds in the hotel. It's the year to probably replace the elevators over some period of time, and that's a $2 million plus project. And they have several others, and we think if everything goes well that they're going to be able to cover that without any additional capital contribution from the city, which we've had to do just since I've been back once. We're hoping they can make it without that. If not, we'll be back to you. But because we've been able to throw off a little extra revenue over the last couple of years, and they're doing as well as they are, it looks like they're going to be able to do all or most of those improvements with the self-generated revenue that they have. So, Valerie, you're up.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to first introduce you to my team here. We've got Kelly, which is our Director of Finance. We've got Kate, which has been with the hotel for 20 years. As our Director of Sales and Marketing. And then we've got Jonathan, which is our Assistant General Manager. So as Mr. Dark alluded to, we are having another fabulous year. We are projected to beat our forecast in revenue, which puts us into 2026. We're projecting to be about flat as far as revenue, with a lot of different factors happening in the market that's going to impact that a little bit, but we are still very confident that we're going to be able to drive the revenue to meet, if not beat, our budget for 2026. With that being said, as everyone has alluded to, prices of everything is going up, and the prices of doing business is going up. And with that, our expenses are pretty much aligned with that increase. The projection for our revenue, which is going to be about flat. We do not see any major increases, provided that as the year continues to age and we continue to experience things go bad, which this year has been a very tough year as things that have gone bad. As Mr. Dark alluded to, next year in 2026, we are looking at facing a rebuild or a new set of elevators. We're in the process right now of consulting with that to get that done. If any of you guys remember, and I hope that you did not receive any negative feedback, back in March, we had a large group in-house, all of our elevators went down. And it cost the hotel tremendously in revenue, having to give it back. Parts they could not find, those elevators are the original, and they simply cannot be repaired anymore. So we are forced with the decision that we've got to move forward. And so that's number one on our capital project list for 2026. Behind that, we have reached the 10-year life of our mattresses. So Hilton is very adamant about every 10 years that we've got to replace those mattresses. So we are looking at budgeting that and putting that as the number 2 priority for 2026. Super important for the brand, as well as for just the safety and the health of our guests that stay at the hotel. So with that being said, other than that, we are continuing to look for ways to generate revenue. As you noticed when we were here last year, we talked a lot about food and beverage, it seemed like. According to my notes, we have made improvements in that. We've got a solid leader in that area right now who comes from a lot of high-end experience, and he's bringing that back and fitting that into where we can actually drive revenue in the food and beverage area, which a lot of people look at that as an amenity, but it looks like, right now we're projected to finish about 18,000 up to what our projection was for 2025, which was very aggressive. We've got our live music started on Wednesdays that seems to be generating anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 additional revenue that we didn't have before, which is going very well, led by our assistant general manager. So we're continuing to build and to continue to grow, continue to look how we can better match the business that is coming in, and continue to drive revenue, and we're all still having fun at that.
Any questions?
I'd just like to, listen, I love the atmosphere that you all have. It's great to just come over, and you all have created that atmosphere that it doesn't even seem like you're in Shreveport when you there. So I'd like to commend you all on that. And I know you got to go up on prices to do the elevators and the mattresses and all. Are y'all going up on the French fries? Because that's basically what I eat when I come over there.
Well, we've got a coupon. Let us know when you're back again.
All right, okay.
We'll help
but
you out with that.
Y'all are doing a super job. Like I say, it's like the atmosphere is remarkable.
Thank you.
And your staff is great. You got great customer service. And I will drive from here to Dallas for customer service, but I won't go across the street for bad customer service. You all got great customer service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to tell you. Thank you.
I have a
Does
question.
it get a discount with this city marshal badge?
I don't have any
For
more.
certain
Oh,
people.
it's gone. Okay.
That's for certain people. It's not certain people.
I have a question, Madam Chair. Do all the mattresses have to be replaced at the same time?
They do. So they're
How-
all
how-
bought, and they're monitored. So we've got to flip them twice a year, and they're tagged. So
How many
part of
beds
our-
do you have?
We've got 311 keys, and the breakdown on that is roughly about, I think we did it today, it's 65 kings, and the remaining are doubles, which means there's 2 beds in each one.
So what's it going to cost to replace the mattresses?
We're actually waiting on the final bid right now. We have sent the quotes out. Hilton is very instrumental in helping us to get those bids at the lowest price with the best shipping. So we are waiting on that final number to come in.
Okay.
I know what it costs per mattress, but they have not sent the complete quote over yet.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. The next couple on the agenda are essentially your budget and ours. The council's budget is essentially standstill, goes up $10,000, absolute continuation budget. The mayor's budget it goes up some only because we didn't budget for an assistant CAO for 2025, and we are budgeting for Mr. Pierce to be with us for 2026. So that basically went back to closer to the level it was before Ms. Alexis left. The only other budget in this 10-minute segment is the redevelopment fund, which has been stagnant at $4,000 since before I left the last time. We are going to propose legislation, I think, to dissolve that entity because it has become dormant over the last 2 decades, and try to figure out what else we can do using CIRA, because a lot of the powers that SRA once had have been superseded by state legislation. So we have not proposed a budget at all for that entity at this point. For some reason it were to not be taken care of, then we would have to propose one at some point during the year. But right now, we don't think we need to.
So where did the money go that we did for Sierra? What budget did they go into?
I'm sorry?
What budget did that money move to that we allocated for Sierra?
Well, the Sierra money, I spoke to Ms. Moore today. We're working on spending that as we speak.
But I'm saying, what fund was it in?
Well, it came out of Riverfront. Now, what will be done, if at whatever point redevelopment is dissolved, its assets will have to be assigned somewhere. Some of that's property. There's a little bit of it in cash, and my assumption right now is Sierra, unless there's a better idea. But that's where that probably would go. But that would be your call by legislation, because you created that agency, or at least instituted the fund that created it, and you would have to change that by legislation yourselves.
So we couldn't move this money into the redevelopment fund?
Well, right now, it's in a redevelopment fund that has had this same $4,000 in it for at least 20 or 25 years.
That's what I'm asking. Since money was allocated to Sierra, that was $100,000 allocated to
Out of
Sierra.
Riverfront, yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking, can that money be redirected right here, since essentially is the redevelopment fund somewhat different than Sierra?
Well, the redevelopment fund is intended, and Marcus can help me here a little bit, intended to implement whatever is able to be done by the more or less defunct Shreveport Redevelopment Agency. The Sierra money, because Sierra is a different entity. I mean, you could change this name if you chose to Sierra, but Sierra isn't a city agency in the same way that a redevelopment agency was. It is by statute independent. So we've got to work on the legalities and all that, but there's no reason to keep this fund alive if we're going to present you the same $4,000 budget that we don't spend a dime out of for 25 years.
So where would the money go that we allocate?
So the money that's allocated to the redevelopment fund every year, that same $4,000, it comes into this fund, and then at the end of the year, when it's unspent and untouched, it goes back into general fund.
Okay. But where would the Sierra money go that we've allocated? Where is that money?
That money is in the Riverfront Development Fund.
Okay.
We allocated from a different fund, from the Riverfront Fund, is where we allocated the $100,000, and that went, or in theory, could at some point go to Sierra, which is outside the budget. It's a separate state entity.
So does an account have to be established for that?
They have an account.
Okay. Do we have to provide legislation for that, or did we already provide legislation?
It's already been provided.
Okay, so that money is in that account. So
Yes.
does it have a name, is what I'm asking?
It doesn't appear in this budget because it's an outside entity. So once we transfer that money over, it's outside of this.
What's the outside entity's name?
Probably just Sierra, Shreveport Implementation and Redevelopment
Okay, that's what
Authority.
I'm asking. What's
Yes.
the account's name?
I'm sure it's under the Shreveport Implementation and Redevelopment
Can you
Authority.
check that for me, for sure?
Yes, and I believe it has been set up as a vendor. Yeah, it's been set up as a vendor, so we can pull that.
Okay.
So,
Madam Chair, Ms. Moore and she actually came by the office about an hour ago, and she gave me an invoice that I have approved for a large portion of the $100,000 that you allocated this year. Some of it is to reimburse them for expenses that they're about to incur, and a couple of things are for insurance and stuff like that
Right.
that they've got to be purchasing. But
I just want to know where the account is.
Well,
That's
it's
what
gonna,
I'm
it's
at.
gonna be a separate bank account entitled Shreveport Implementation and Redevelopment.
Okay.
So do they, I'm assuming they're required to do an audit as well?
They will probably end up, yes, they will, and they'll become a component unit in the same way that a number of other things are here.
So will we get a copy of that audit, you think, at some point?
Yes,
would
once
think
they've
so.
become a component unit, we've had some discussions with the external auditor about their designation, and at least at this stage, they're a component unit of the city, and so going forward, they are going to end up being a part of our audit. And
But
so
they
we're
won't have to do like the marshal's office and the city courts. They have their own independent auditor, right? Doesn't Marcia Milligan do theirs? So this organization, I would think, would have to do the same, right?
No, it's more like, it's actually more like MPC.
It depends on how it ends up being set up. If they have to do what the courts and marshal do, they do in fact hire their own auditor. I mean, they have so few transactions that right now that would be a very small amount. But that's the discussion that Marcus is having with the Carr Riggs folks where exactly does this new entity fit? Is it going to be a component unit? Is it going to be a separate agency that we just keep up with? And that's something they're still working on, I think.
And I'm just speculating what you're asking for is probably the same thing. I'd like to see an accounting of that money,
Right.
basically.
And so we decided to allocate any more money to Sierra, then we know where the money is going and what the balance is and what the transactions are.
I can send you a copy of that invoice that I approved about an hour ago.
That's fine on the invoice, but what I'm saying in its totality.
Okay.
What's the account name? Where's that particular money going? Give me a breakdown of what we're spending the money on.
Because if it's like MPC is included in our budget.
Right.
Right.
So.
Okay. The next item is Mr. Edwards' budget. City attorney's budget is just less than 2% higher than the current year. The only real increases, we have software that we acquired to help us manage the public records requests that we have. I believe through our office, one way or the other, we paid the first year of it, and we've now put it where it belongs in the city attorney's office for next year, and that's pretty much their increase coming up.
Has this software made public records requests more efficient?
Yes, the process itself is more efficient. We're also pushing it forward to allow for online payment, which will be yet another efficiency that we don't have quite yet. We just kicked that off, that routing process. Public records requests still rely on actual humans to produce the documents, review the documents, so there are some inefficiencies, but the process itself is a lot more efficient now because of the software.
That's a complaint that I've heard over two administrations and it's nothing I understand is time sensitive, but there are times that members of the media will reach out and say, I've been waiting on this public records request for X amount of time, so I want to make sure if this software is what you need that could speed that up, whatever we need to do.
Yes, sir.
It's very good at reminding us when ours are past due. It doesn't answer them for us, unfortunately. That's the problem.
That's good. That's good.
The second item in this particular category that's under the city attorney is the diversion program, which has its own special fund. It has a little bit over $500,000 in assets right now. But that program is essentially dormant. It has been, at least for the last several years. I think Marcus and I had some discussions about what we might do with that program going forward. Those would obviously, again, include you all because you created this fund, and in order to either change it or disperse its assets in a different way or whatever, that would be action that you would be asked to take at some point. Marcus, you got anything else on that?
This fund is somewhat in flux because of some of the things that Bill Whiteside said earlier. There was some legislation in the last legislative session that took DWIs out of city court, which was a substantial source of revenue in a number of other ways. But particularly with the diversion program, true first offense DWIs, in order to be in diversion, that was a $1,000 expense all by itself. Since June, we have not had any new DWIs come through the city attorney's, the city prosecutor's office for that reason. That is projected to be resolved in the next legislative session, but that's still half of 2025 and half of 2026, whereby you won't be getting that revenue coming in. At the same time, we're discussing making our diversion program identical to the DA's diversion program, which would mean an increase in the fees. So it's in flux. To the CAO's point, this money has been going in and hasn't really been going anywhere out. And so now there's $500,000 in the fund, and we don't currently have a real way to spend it, because when the fund was instituted, when it was established, the rule was that money could only be expended on the program itself. The program itself doesn't cost $500,000. I'll just put it that way. So we've had some discussions, and my office will likely recommend a change to how the money can be spent, particularly with a portion of it being able to be used either for specific law enforcement related things or to go to the public safety fund or something like that. So we're going to come up with a recommendation that a portion of the fund be available for law enforcement purposes in order to expend some of this $500,000 that's accrued over the decade or so that the program has been in place.
So city court is no longer handling DUIs?
That is correct.
So those are all done in the DA's office, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's not coming back to us.
It is likely to come back.
It's likely to come back because
the DA's office was overrun, and the state DA's association is lobbying, as well as LMA and some other organizations are lobbying that the change be fixed. As Mr. Bill Whiteside pointed out, it was really a fee that they called a fine. It's a very simple fix, and if they fix that, they'll be able to come back to the municipal courts. But the municipal courts, as well as the DA's associations, are united in trying to fix it.
So our court system will be able to handle the diversions that are often offered to first-time offenders?
Yes.
Can any of that money be used for, like, assisting people that might not be able to afford ankle bracelets or GPS tracking or any? Could that go towards that?
So right now, we have not done interlocking devices. We haven't done monitoring. That's the piece of the diversion program that the DA's office has that we have not done. And so. And there's been some resistance to it, and that's one of the reasons why it's been limited to true first-time offenders, so that they don't have to go through some of the more onerous parts of the DA's diversion program.
Because I know it's called diversion, but in particular instances of I'm sure they see misdemeanor things that could very well deserve an ankle bracelet in some cases, but they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And if we've got $500,000 sitting in a bank account, I don't know. That's just an idea. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
The other part of the business that we were going to talk about at this time, I will apologize. I thought I had a slide made for this, and apparently it's not in the deck. So we're going to talk about retained risk. Retained risk is a budget of just under $20 million. It is one of the budgets that gets more expensive each year because the cost of claims and insurance goes up every year. Right now, the budget is set up where the general fund's gonna pay about 14 million of that 19.8. Water and sewer is gonna pay about 2.8 million. Airport's gonna pay a little less than 600,000. We get a little over 2 million that goes to the fund essentially from insurance companies paying us back for damages that their clients caused to some of our facilities. The main thing we try to do with this one is try to budget a reasonable number for claims. And I have to tell you, it's crapshoot every year knowing how much that might be. But we also have to budget enough for insurance premiums. You know, y'all, we come to you generally in the early spring with here's the list of what this year's insurance is. This is what it costs compared to what we had. The market's a little better according to the folks we talk to, but for liability insurance, which is one of our big components, it is not that good. So that's the one I think we've tried to budget about 10% increase net overall, knowing that some of the insurance we buy will not go up hardly at all, and some of it will probably go up well more than that 10%. But we'll know better again in March and early April when we come back to you. But this is a budget that has grown a great deal over the years. It did not get properly funded for a long time, to the extent that it actually has an on the books deficit of somewhere around $50 million. And risk is under Marcus. Risk manager works for him. So if you have any questions, you might want to direct them to him. Okay. Y'all ready to move on? If you are, the next item in your schedule is downtown parking fund, which won't take long. Budget's a little bit over $1.4 million, which is up about 5%. That money has been accumulating over some period of time in a reserve that can be used for various parking improvements downtown. SPAR has actually proposed one for $300,000 for next year to try to upgrade the lot that a number of our employees park in, and they feel like that's an appropriate use of those funds. You can ask Shelley a little more about that, tomorrow when you see her, but that's the only real new expense, and even with that, we'd still have over $700,000 in reserve. We pay DDA essentially to manage the parking system, and we pay them about what it costs, about what we generate in revenue. So that's really the only serious highlights of that. Okay. Have we seen HR? Okay, HR is on their way. If you'd like, we can skip to IT because they are here and come back to.
Okay.
That be okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me scroll forward here a bit. The IT budget's actually down a little bit, down to 4.7 million from 4.85. What they have done though is they're not paying nearly the amount they were paying for outside maintenance, outside consulting work, outside licenses, and as a result, that part of her budget goes down. They are actually adding a couple of positions inside. It's one of the few places you'll see, people being added for a budget. But they're trying to get some additional capability in-house to try to meet the never stopping demands that all of us have for IT services. They've also had to spend a lot of time, as you well know, in the last few months, dealing with the support for moving SPD to different places. They'll still have some of that next year because obviously we've got 2 substations we'll be moving into next year. But a lot of the really, really hard work that somebody else had to pay for, some them, some SPAR, some police, will kind of be past us. We've got a couple of positions they'd love to have that we didn't have money for in cybersecurity and email encryption. Well, email encryption is a program, not a person. But anyway, that's kind of the highlights of where they are, and Ms. Creel is here if you have any questions.
I do, Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Shocker, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How many total employees are in your department?
I have a total of 32 employees.
32. I believe it was 31 last year. Okay. And do they still work remotely? I think we discussed this last year.
No, actually they don't. After last year's budget meeting, I made adjustments, and now my entire team is working on site.
Okay, thank you.
They listened, believe me.
Mhm.
Y'all made your point about this about a year ago on that one.
In addition to that, I think there was a question from Councilman Butcher about emergency after-hour support.
Mhm.
We also made that change. Now we have a rotating on-call schedule. So if there are network-related emergencies after hours, my team is ready to respond to those as well.
It's awesome.
Great, great.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the HR director with us now. I think she might have had a board meeting earlier today, so she's trying to shuffle things around. But anyway, their budget is slightly down. They have made a number of adjustments during the year regarding staffing, combined some functions, so that their budget for people is actually down about $60,000 from what it was a year ago. The biggest changes, I think, mostly have been trying to consolidate positions and benefits. We had a separate pension manager and a separate, essentially, insurance benefits manager. And some of that's all been combined now into one staff position. So if y'all have any questions, Sharon would be here.
How many positions do you have total?
Approximately 15.
15?
Yes,
In your
ma'am,
department?
approximately 15.
And you say the benefits person and what other position is combined?
So the benefits manager oversees pension and health benefits.
Okay. So we have dual positions?
Ma'am?
We have dual positions?
Not really, no. It's just we created a benefits manager to oversee both when it was transitioned per the council's request to HR. That was the way we chose to have oversight over both of those positions, whereas previously they functioned separately. They are all benefits. And so we just combined and made one manager to help us streamline the processes.
Is your benefits person capable of producing us a benefits survey? Since raises is such a hot topic within the city, when has there been a benefits survey done on city employees?
What specifically do you mean when you say benefits survey?
To compare the salaries.
Compensation study, yes,
Yes.
ma'am. We are currently in the process of one, and we've been working with the CAO, and we are in the final stages. He could probably give you more information about that.
Do we have a day when we look at that being wrapped up?
The hardest part for me on this one is that what we're trying to do is do a couple of things. We're trying to determine who, if any, are paid, below what a survey would run out. We're also looking at some stuff that y'all have heard, I'm sure, a little bit of from particularly field ops people, but not just them. Places where the pay structure got compressed over the years, and some folks who were supervising people were essentially making less or the same money as
Correct.
them. We're trying to fix some of that. And they sent me the latest piece of information I asked for just this afternoon, kind of side-by-side comparison of, what level people are in, top to bottom in the system we have now, and what they might recommend they be, because I'm trying to get an answer to, A, do we need to put additional money in some of the salary classifications, and B, do we have issues that we can fix related to the whole compression issue. I would hope to have you something we can all talk about before the end of the year.
Okay. I think for me,
And the gentleman sitting in the audience is Steve Olson. He's the one that's trying to get me all that data, so be nice to him because it's a lot.
So where are we on the pension fund as far as unfunded amount in the pension fund? That number goes around a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious as where we are with that.
It's fairly stable right now, but quite underfunded.
Dollar amount?
dollar amount?
200+ million.
How do we overcome that? Is there any way to do it? I mean, it sounds like a huge
It's a very
mountain.
large hill that we're trying to figure out a way to even begin the conversation on. Because all the choices are bad. And we're trying to find a way to get our hands around what we might be able to do there and what we might be able to recommend to you. The good news is that it is not going broke anytime soon, but there's going to come a point sometime around 2040 where we've got, if you're going to be paying pensions, you're going to be paying them out of current revenue. Nobody wants to get there. So we are trying to find ways to.
Is there any way to give us a breakdown of that number per year over the last few years? Just to see how it's.
We can find a way to get you the information. I mean, it all comes out of actuarial tables that we get once a year. We get it from, on that fund, and we get it from the old police and old fire fund as well.
I would just like to see how it's doing, and since you're saying it's stable, that's good, because I think it goes back to the point of what the mayor was talking about with us and our reserve. I would assume that this factors into our bond rating as well, does it not?
It can.
Okay. Because I think if we're gonna strive to have an 8% reserve, and I don't know what the answer to this question. It's above my pay grade of $500 every 2 weeks to figure that out. But that's something that we need to. I mean, we seem to have a handle on the 8%, but we sure as heck don't have a handle on this pension fund, and that's something that employees have been concerned about, especially ones that have not been here very, very long, because like you said, 2040, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, I know.
So I would just like to see.
Still be on that system. Then. We'll see.
I'd just like to see kind of where we are and where we've been, and maybe try to get a clear path to where we're going with it.
We'll try to get you some historical information. As some of y'all, there was a time about 10 years ago we made a number of changes in making the contributions larger that we thought from the actuarial studies were going to get us back on a path. All you need is 1 or 2 bad stock market years, and all of a sudden a lot of that's been done. So we're down in around the 40% range funded right now for that fund.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Riverfront. The Riverfront Fund budget's a little over $10 million. Some of that's reserve, some of that's current revenue. You're not going to see anything unusual in that budget particularly. We funded civic appropriations at the same level they're funded this year. We're transferring a little bit less money to support the general fund, $4.4 million this year and $3.9 next year. Fair share and economic development are basically keeping their current staffs, but we've given them a little bit of extra money for projects if either of them need it. This is another place where there'll be an amendment in all likelihood, because it would appear very likely that you're going to approve allocations to Food Bank, Salvation Army, and Christian Services between now and the time the budget passes. And that will just mean that we have a little less money coming into next year, and we want to go ahead and acknowledge that. As it is right now, the reserve there is a little over $1.4 million. Those changes will drop it down to about 1.2. But other than that, it's pretty well staying where we are. We make a lot of the civic appropriations that we and you approve over the years from this fund, and that's one of the most common places it's used. And we're going to need to tell Mr. Blackwell to get here, because he wasn't supposed to be for another hour, and he's almost next. Stephen, if you'd call him, it would be helpful. General government's the next one. And general government is $100 million now, which is a lot. And it goes up a great deal every year because of the kind of things that are in it. It includes, almost half of that is actually reserves. Bless you. Almost half of that's is reserves, because $25 million from water and sewer for the rate stabilization account is in there. There's a reserve of a little over almost $23.4 million. But we've got $14 million in there to pay the retained risk fund. We pay a little over $1 million. We're at $1.1 million for MPC. We pay almost $10 million for essentially the city's portion of retiree insurance. We've got a couple of things that are a little bit different. We will have elections next year, so we have to budget for elections. We didn't have to do that this year. We did it in '24. we've got $220,000 because it's likely that we will be sharing all or part of 2 elections next year if there are any runoffs. Sport transfer goes up a little bit. They got a labor agreement change this year that raised salaries for next year 4%. That's almost exactly that amount. The other thing that we've done is that one of the things we have struggled with over the years is how to deal with the old fire and police pension funds, to which we've not contributed in a while. We actually have a contribution amount in next year's budget that is equal to what some of them believe state law requires. It's a little over, it's right at $1.6 million, I think, between the 2 funds. The police fund is actually in pretty good shape. It's like 80% funded. The fire one is considerably less than 50%, which is why it will get the larger number. But that's an amount that was not in this year's budget that is in the 26 for that reason. Don't start on me again.
No.
Did you get a hold of Larry? Okay, the airport director's about 15 minutes out. We're going way faster. I'll need to remind folks in the morning to come early, because I don't think it'll all go quite this fast because of some of the departments we've got tomorrow, but we will try to get him here as quickly as we can.
Where'd James go?
Sure, go ahead, Gary.
I don't know if this would be for Attorney Edwards or you, Mr. Dart. Under retained risk fund, the money that we receive back from insurance companies, it was 1.6 million budgeted last year, 2.4 for next year. Where do we come up with that number?
It's essentially extrapolating off what we're ahead of this. We were ahead of that 1.6 million pace quite a bit right now. So I'm essentially assuming we're going to get about the same amount of money next year that we are going to get this year. We're going to get more money than is in the budget right now.
So we're going to get approximately 2.4 million this year.
Something, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So where does that money go?
It just goes back into the retained risk fund. It helps pay for lots of claims. Trying to see if we had anything else in general government to talk about. But I really
How much money have we spent on economic development?
I'd have to get you the exact number. Let me look and see if I can pull it here real quick. I know his budget for next year is $371,000.
What's the budget for next year?
371, I believe. Let me be sure though, because 330, excuse me. Leon's is 271. We are anticipating spending just under 295,000 on the economic development department part of Riverfront.
And so what would that entail?
That is the salary for 2 employees, a small amount of travel training money for them, studies like the one that you and Mr. Sabo have talked about, things like that.
Who's the other employee?
There's a young woman named Patricia Dubois who used to work for community development as a grant writer, and we have transitioned her into being Mr. Sabo's assistant. She still does some grant work, but she also does a lot of legwork for Bill. One of the things we tried to do on Riverfront is be careful with the amount of revenue we estimate from casino revenue. It's pretty flat. The Bally's revenue is doing a little bit better. The Samstown revenue is doing a little worse. We get a little money from what used to be called Boomtown, but it's a relatively small amount. But our perception is the Bally's Casino is doing, somewhat better than the Samstown one as far as growth. But all of those together only add up to, somewhere in the general vicinity of $8 million. And it's money I'm glad we have, but it's not nearly as big a boom as I think at one point people thought it might be. Did y'all go out to the airport today? So how was the airport earlier today?
Great.
The Blackwell is quite the success story for us.
Mhm.
Someone who wanted to be here, who moved from out of town, thinks he's died and gone to heaven because he's living close to home. But the impact that a small number of people who really put their heads together and their hearts into it has made a lot of difference out there. I mean, the passenger numbers are good, but if you're asking yourself what's the impression one gets going in and out of there now, it's night and day compared to what it was. And if we can get some of the work on Monkhouse done that we're trying to do, it will be even more night and day. So they are clearly going in the right direction, and we are quite happy that Larry and his staff are doing the work they're doing. We'll have to tell him we said that after he gets here. Jackie, we're going to have to do this schedule different again next year, aren't we? Well,
Joel, who scheduled 8 in the morning?
I believe Ms. White did that.
We waiting on
You have to talk to her.
Yeah.
I think we probably need to vote on that next year. All right.
Well, the truth is, if it goes like this, you could probably split it where you did it 2 afternoons. I mean, we're scheduled to do this for 7 hours total. It's very clear that at least today's 3 hours could have been done in an hour and a half. Tomorrow's maybe not so, because I mean, you've got fire and police and public works and STAR and some of the bigger ones that may take a little longer. But we can work on whatever works for you.
How long do you think tomorrow? 4 hours?
Well, you're scheduled for a little over 4 hours. You have some things on this agenda that will not take as long as you say.
But your largest budgets.
But the larger ones will.
Have a tendency to linger longer.
I mean, you got essentially 30 minutes for public works and solid waste,
Right.
plus another 10 minutes for streets. You got 30 minutes for fire and 30 minutes for police. Those will take, in all likelihood, the time they're allotted. Water and sewer might, depending on how deep you want to go. SPAR probably won't, unless you have a lot of questions that don't have anything to do with the budget. Community development probably will take most of the 20 minutes. Finance, MPC, and Fortran will take less time in all likelihood.
So you have to change El Dorado to Bally's.
It's just still stuck in the accounting system that way. Yes, we do need to change the label. And y'all, if you've looked at all at the big budget books we sent you, we changed software this year, and it was more of a struggle than Stephen and I would have liked. It will be better, the version you get in January, but the intention is to make it considerably easier down the road to make all this Because a lot of what we've been doing over the years is putting all these numbers in, essentially somebody typed them in. The system we've got is supposed to be in a position to say, once the budget system has your numbers in it, it should be able to drop those numbers into the forms you're working on, and ultimately into the forms, into the pages that you see in a book, and perhaps even into the ordinances we write. But it's been a little more of an adventure this year than I think we would have hoped for, but it does look a little different.
So what are the largest unmet needs?
I'm sorry?
What are the largest unmet needs?
Well, we'll probably talk a little more about that tomorrow as we go through the departments, but I mean, the largest needs are the ones they always are. We always could pay better than we do. We always, I mean, there's no secret that police cars and medic units and garbage trucks are the backbone of what we do here. And we have not done a particularly great job of keeping up with that over the years, and we may yet at some point have some proposals to how to deal with equipment, because that problem's not going away.
Well, I thought we were looking at that last year.
I'm sorry?
I thought we were looking at that last year.
We look at it every year, but you still got to have the money to do it.
Yeah.
What we did was, when we got a little extra money during the year, we took the highest priority we thought we had, which was police patrol units. And we asked you, and you funded $1.4 million of that from the general fund. We would like to be in a position to do more. It's just, despite what some of you think, the printing press is closed on Government Plaza second floor.
So I'm gonna ask this. Since we have garbage trucks, police, fire, medic units, we've received an overall cost of what those things are.
Well, I can give you just kind of the short version. If you were to buy 30 police cars, that's $2.1 million. If you were buying 60, it's 4.2.
Okay.
We have 8 garbage trucks that are over 10 years old. That's 2.4 million, close. Fire chief says he has rebuilt medic units about as long as he can. He really needs 3 new ones. That's just short of $1 million between those.
So
we actually have a way to deal with some of that.
We bought how many fire trucks?
I don't know how many total we bought.
Y'all bought $14 million worth of fire trucks. We're not talking about fire trucks being a
We're
problem.
just talking about the medic units.
Just
So how
ambulances.
many, did we buy any medic units?
Couldn't buy them on a bond because they don't have a long enough lifespan. What he's been doing is he's been taking them and remounting the box
Okay.
on a new chassis.
So we need to buy some medic units.
Right.
And so we're looking at what cost?
They're about
They're a little over 300,000.
yeah, about 250 to 350, depending on where you get them at.
What I'm looking at trying to do, we did a long-term financing deal a year or two back where we bought a lot of police cars and we remounted some patrol, some medic units. What we have to figure out a way to do, and I'm working on how to do that, is, when you do those, you got payments for 5 years. So we're going to be paying on those until 2028. And I'm trying to find a way to, if we try to meet some of these needs we have next year, whether we can perhaps feather the payments in so that more of them come after the 2023 equipment thing is paid off. We're still trying to work through that and get some prices and get some ideas from the chief on how many vehicles he'll need after his 30, come in, and he says he has about 50 that he would ideally replace. So we're trying to work through that. We will have something for you. It may not be during budget time, but because this would be an extra source of funding anyway, it wouldn't really affect the decisions you're going to be making in
So I'm gonna
December.
tell you where my headspace is.
Okay, good time.
I'm not going to be excited about 8% in reserves if I have medic units breaking down. That's just the long and short of it for me.
Well, I think we have a way to do that without hitting the reserve, so we're trying to work on that for you.
But that is something that it takes almost, a year to build?
The
A medic unit?
The medic units are short. Actually, the one of all those that's likely to be the longest is garbage trucks. And the good
Okay.
news is on garbage trucks, we got 44 in the fleet right now, and 36 of them are new enough where we don't need anything to do with them.
Right.
So we could be in a position, if we tried to get the ones 10 years older and above out, that's 8 of them. And we would be able to continue operating while they were built, because they do take a while.
Because how many garbage trucks did we buy?
There are
Councilman.
36 of them in the fleet that are newer than newer than 8 years.
Right at 50, don't we have total 50 garbage trucks, plus or minus?
Stephen told me yesterday we had 44 that we're actually running right now.
Okay.
But 36 of those are they're models that were bought presumably during your last term.
Okay.
I think my biggest concern with when you're talking about vehicle replacement would be the police, because it would be nice to be able to get enough take-on cars. And then the medic units, I think we're good. I mean, I don't know if the chief's going to talk about the rescue truck, but you know, we need some rescue. The rescue trucks that we're running are old, and we're going to need to look at replacing those, and that's going to be $700,000-800,000 probably per rescue truck. But the medic units are something that's critical. I've been told the medic unit that services my area, Southeast Shreveport, that the AC doesn't work sometimes, the heat doesn't work sometimes, it's broken down all the time.
We've seen one broken down on the side of the road. So again, when you turn around and you look at those things, what's going to be a priority for me is not when somebody calls 911 and then a medic unit breaks down.
Which is a very good possibility in some of the medic units that we have. And the remounts, if I'm not mistaken, you can do them once or twice, and then it's not suggested to remount them again.
What Chief told me today was that they have changed. They have a different remount contractor right now, and he has pretty much said, you're not going to remount any more of these.
Which means that's critical.
Which means that at some point, I mean, look, we're going to present you with something that deals with these kind of things. We'd like to talk through what might be in them. Some of that you can ask and talk about tomorrow as you see the department heads. I mean, look, there's a lot more equipment needs out there, but they're dump trucks and, you know, kind of things like, you know, graders and things like that. Those are in the second layer of priority for us behind police cars and garbage trucks and medic units. So we're going to have a proposal for you. I'm just trying to work with the finance director to figure out how we can do it so that the payments in 26, 27, and 28, while we're still paying on the last one, aren't as high as they would be otherwise, because we've been just paying straight 5-year amortization on those. And it may be that we try to feather in a little more money in years 4 and 5 so that we can buy perhaps a little more right now than we would be able to, because we can't wait till these are paid for to do something. So that's what we're trying to do, and we'll have some recommendations for you.
Thank you.
Actually, I mean, Larry make it, or do you know? On his way. Sorry about it. Yes, sir.
You said 50 additional police cars?
Well, I was just throwing out numbers. I mean, police cars are $70,000 a pop.
I thought we just bought 30 for 1.5.
Well, you did, because they were reusing a bunch of the equipment that's in them, and we might be able to do some of that with these as well. I mean, what you have to do is at some point you ask the chief, okay, how much usable stuff are you going to have in the ones that we're getting rid of? And that might make the number smaller. But if you were, for instance, to try to buy any, for what Councilman Butcher just described, vehicles that are not in the fleet at all right now, those would be full price, whatever those would be. So I'm trying to use the round $70,000 number. They do live. Sorry about that. We're a little early today. So
did you mean 50 more in addition to the 30 we just approved?
Yes, sir. And we're trying to, again, I'm trying to get a number that makes sense. I mean, we don't want to buy more than we need, but I'm trying to get them to tell me, run the years, how many we got that are, old or so old that we really don't want to turn them into investigative cars, or, cars that are not used for patrol. But we will have, we're working with the various chiefs and Jarvis's crew right now, trying to come up with a package for you that makes sense. I mean, there's not an unlimited amount of money we can use. We did $10 million the last time, and that was a stretch.
So have we talked any more? I know last year, and we seem to talk about it a lot, leasing administrative cars for SPD and the fire department. Have we looked at that at all?
The lease guys don't want to, they don't want to do patrol cars at all.
Right, I agree. But
because they have they have to assume they make their money by those vehicles having resale value at the end of the lease.
Right.
And patrol cars don't. We're not trying to buy administrative cars right now. I mean, if we were, that might be a different discussion.
Okay.
But I mean, again, we're trying right now just to do patrol units and medic units and garbage trucks, and there's not a lease market for any of those. Well, we have an airport. And we've been saying very nice things about you while you weren't here. So. Airports Fund is essentially a standstill budget. It goes up pretty much 1% over the current budget. And one of the things they're doing with theirs that's a little different is they are spending some of their surplus, some of their reserve for capital projects like this additional parking lot that you guys just funded. That this will be the second one they've done with their money, because you can't build parking lots with FAA money and all that. So they're trying to do that. They're still going to have $13.5 million in reserve left. That actually is the kind of thing that gets used for our share of money when we get a grant from the state or the feds, and we have to have a share, or for projects where we can't use their money. So, Larry, you're up, and while you're up, I'll talk just a second about their projects as well. They've got projects totaling $150 million. Now, they've spent a lot of that already, because y'all know the way the projects work. It includes full price of stuff that we might be 75% through with. But they have, they get about 2/3 of their money from FAA, about 20% from airport revenue, and about 11% from state grants. They've got $11.5 million in new projects for next year, additional $4 million for the airport control tower, $2 million for some roof work at Regional, $1.5 million for windows at Regional, $3 million more for Hangar 40, small projects at downtown, and then over and above that, we got some state money last year for economic development type work at the airport for just under $5 million. You just saw the CEA on that. Most likely, we will appropriate that in the final version that you're asked to do in December. It just wasn't done yet before October 1st. So that's kind of where we are. Your own.
That state apportionment, hello, everyone, good afternoon.
Hey, Larry.
Is on this next Thursday's board agenda for consideration for that 4.7 from the state.
We told them you were doing a good job, you were glad to be here, and y'all had made quite a difference. So they've already heard that part.
Absolutely. Well,
so I guess since the government's grounded those MD, what are they? MD, what are those planes?
MD-11s.
MD-11s.
I guess we get to keep them a little while longer.
We, unfortunately, with that accident in UPS accident, the FAA has stopped any flights with. There's only 3 operators: it's FedEx, UPS, and Western Global. And so they're trying to get the investigation of why that happened. And so we currently have 4 MD-11s at Regional right now. One left about a little over a month ago.
When they take off, they're going to take off north, right, not south.
The one that took off the other day took off south.
I have a question, Madam Chair. The difference in the operating reserves, is that $5 million? Is that for the parking lot?
Yes, we took money out for an additional parking lot, which obviously will generate revenue. We had anywhere from 200 plus cars a day that were in the grass that we couldn't accommodate. We're currently in design for an additional about 750 parking spaces to the northeast of where our current parking lot is now. Where there's grass fields over by our cell phone lot. Those grass fields would be converted into parking lots. They're in design now. I've got the first part of that project will be to put temporary parking in, because we've added 285 spots, but I want to put temporary because in May, when our flights start again, we have no additional room to park people. So once the project's underway, so the project will be underway and hopefully be finished next summer for the additional spaces. But I've got it phased to where we have this part of the budget for phase 1, and then phase 2, the second parking lot, we can do it a later budget year. So if this one comes in, the other one's $3.5 million, and we hopefully this one won't cost that much.
What do you mean by temporary parking, like gravel?
We have an old Avis parking lot now that is concrete, that's fenced in. Avis is using it, but we're on a month-to-month lease. Our plan is to take that back, so we'll have about 80 spaces that are on concrete, and then put another 80 beside it on material we can use in the parking lot, so we're not, not using material that we can't use in the construction project, just in case we need additional parking. I'm anticipating more flights next year.
Where is Avis going to park?
They only it's an overflow lot where they put their wrecked cars and that kind of stuff, so. And they have the lot right across Hollywood.
We touched on something last year, and this is pretty important to Councilman Butcher and myself. Mark Crawford, he did not apparently get a airport credit card this last year for expenses.
He did not get
He did not. Well, Councilman Butcher and I and his lovely wife Heather were at Silver Star the other day, and Mark joined us, and he tried to order off the kids' menu. And it caused a pretty big scene. The waitress said that you have to be under 12. And he said he was 11. So he was going to dress up for Halloween, so he was going to be a kid.
He is very, very thrifty with some things.
Thrifty? Is that what we're calling it?
Well,
Okay.
not Christmas decorations, but other things he really looks at.
So Councilman Butcher and I, to avoid the argument, we just went ahead and split the extra $9.
We just paid for his meal because we didn't,
Yeah.
we wanted him to be able to get the big steak bites as opposed to the.
Yeah, he tried to
as
order the
opposed to
kid
small
burger.
ones.
So sometime in 2026, could you
Yeah,
possibly
kind of nuggets.
get him some kind of a, what do you call that, a stipend or? Do what?
His mind is under 11.
Well, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Tiffany.
Tiffany, okay. I hope he's watching.
Returning this to something that has actually something to do with budget. One of the dances that we are beginning to get into with airports is how much longer they can continue to fund with cash some of their larger projects. It would not be out of the question at all for those of you who will be here past next year to look at perhaps an airport revenue bond issue at some point. Some of that depends on how much money we get for some of the big projects. Some of it depends on what some of the economic development opportunities may come in at where we may be asked to put up some money, but we can't continue to spend $5 or $6 or $7 million every year on cash for projects unless his gas well comes in again. And if it does, he'll be good for a little longer, but there's going to perhaps come a time when they have to bond some of their stuff out.
To that point, I believe that if there were some economic development potential, and I've talked to Mr. Sabo about this let's just use New York as an example for someone to come here. We're going to need a direct flight to New York. We're going to need some, direct flights to LA, I think, with the things that are going on with 50 Cent. We're going to need some, what would it take? Because I think the airport looks great. Don't get me wrong. I think things are great. But would it take something like what he's talking about, some type of revenue bond for y'all to be able to, does it help? What do we need to do money-wise to be able to get those flights? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, for commercial flights, we wouldn't need that type of bond. That I think what CAO ARC is talking about would be a large facility to bring in manufacturing or bring in another large maintenance operation, similar to what we have at Hangar 40. We have infrastructure needs to be able to put in aprons and taxiways that could sustain larger aircraft and to go after those type of companies.
So there's no benefit to the airlines for us to have more infrastructure, more gates, more whatever.
We're adding those now, but those are projects that the FAA will pay for with grant money. So we just added 10,000 square feet to 2 of the gates, and additional, that gave us a lot of capacity, and we're looking at expanding all the gates to be able to accommodate any type of airplane that we get in there in the future. And we've got a project that's ongoing right now to put brand new chillers in the airport, and the chillers will take into account the additional square footage that we're putting in. The goal this year, next year, 2026, we're anticipating a large grant from the FAA to move our control tower and reconstruct our control tower on the other side of the runway. Our control tower is about $50 million, or 50 years old, and it's going to cost about $30 million. But we're going to get most of that in in the form of grants. And with this government shutdown, it's delayed all that for indefinitely right now. So we'll see, but we're hoping in 2026 we can get that mowed. But that's our big project. And then when that's done, the plan would be to connect our two concourses with an atrium, kind of like you see at Charlotte. That's got a big atrium to, we could put 4 more gates on that atrium. So we have a total of 12 passenger gates at regional that would accommodate up to 2 million passengers. And we have currently this year, we're on track for 800,000 passengers. So that'll take us well into the future. But as far as attracting new carriers, RASA has been instrumental in helping us with that. They helped us with Nashville. Nashville's coming back next year. I truly believe with what I've heard so far this year, we're going to get another hub next year. I don't know what date. They couldn't get a date, but I think we're going to get another hub in 2026. And that's what RASA and the business community's been telling us that they need is another hub to fly to get people out. So we're constantly talking to the airlines about opportunities, and it's a different world out there. But having SkyWest maintenance base here has really helped us. Really helped us. I mean, we've had with this shutdown, we've had 1 to 3 flight cancellations a day, and those have been midday because the aircraft that are flown by Southwest have to be in our maintenance hangar at night, and their maintenance hangar 40 at night. So we've not been seeing the cancellations in the morning when people need to get out and make their connections. So that's been a benefit. I've seen that as a benefit. With this government shutdown, the TSA and the FAA has been working without pay, as y'all know. I came back from an event we had today that was wonderful at 1 o'clock, and I met a doctor that was getting on the elevator when I was getting off, and he introduced himself, and he came by, and he was given a $1,000 check to the FAA controllers to buy food and stuff during the shutdown. We've had such outpouring from our community. I do want to put that out there. McDonald's on Pines Road has been bringing food to TSA and FAA. It's been really good. Really good to see the community.
Our community is really awesome in that way.
It's amazing to see that his own money, he was in his scrubs, just took off work at lunch to bring that money to those people. I thought
that's awesome.
One of the things that you may also see, one of our capital outlay requests for next year is some additional money on top of the $5 million that we got from last session. We have a number of legislators who are interested in continuing that push as it relates to economic development. So at some point next year, I hope we're able to tell you we've gotten some additional amount, whether it's $5 million or even more than that. I think that's kind of the discussion going on, depending on how the legislature has how their money's working.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate everything you've done out at the airport. The first 4 years of being on the council, the airport was always rocky, honestly. In my opinion, I didn't see much growth, but I can definitely tell a difference since you've taken over. And you're doing a great job, and I think that you're going to see a lot of changes coming down the road where the airport grows, and I think it can be contributed to what your leadership. So I want to tell you thank you.
You're very welcome. It's a point of pride for me, and I want it to be a point of pride for our community. And I'm blessed to be there, and it's someplace that I've wanted to be for my whole career, and so I'm really excited. And we've got a really good crew that helps me every day in different to keep the keep everything going smoothly, and I'm appreciative of them.
Well, I was like the chairwoman and I were talking about there are people that have hearts for what they do in the city, and we can definitely tell that you've got a heart for it.
Right.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much again. Today was beautiful, and then just looking out and just seeing the improvements is really nice. So I appreciate everything that you do, because you just see the manifestation of what your vision is. So thank you for loving Shreveport for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Good way to end the day.
Okay. See y'all in the morning at 8.
Sorry, Gary. Next year, we can fix it.
I'll see y'all about 8:30 or 9.
Or you can, by the way, De Niro will not be here in the
Yeah,
morning.
he
He's-
told me
he-
that he
he
wouldn't be
is-
here.
He and Vicky are both unavailable. I've already told Jimmy, y'all were gonna grill him, you know, make him miserable.
I think you need to call a recess. I think you need to call a recess. Don't adjourn it, but call a recess.
Yeah, I'll recess to 8 o'clock in the morning.
Gary, see you about
8
11?
a.m.